everyone, this is Yael and I'm here to bring you the message of the Divine Feminine to her beloved for the week of September the 17th to the 23rd. Now, I won't repeat what I've said in my earlier two videos that you will get earlier than this one, but suffice it to say that during my absence, which is more than a month, I think. That was the last reading I gave around the last week of August. Okay, and a lot of the Divine Feminines have been dealing with a lot of issues and struggles. Now, I guess you could say that this was to be expected because we are still undergoing a transformation and a shift. And the Divine Feminines have been struggling with this. Now, I just want to explain something because we keep this balance. That's why there's the infinity symbol that really personifies or symbolizes the twin flame dynamic. Okay? And in order to keep the dynamic going, you can see now that the Divine Masculine is rising. And in order to balance that out, as a Divine Feminine was previously really had a surge, an upsurge in her ascension, and to balance that down, because we are still living in this dimension, in the third dimension, often things happen to get grounded, just to maintain all that balance between the Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine, and the way we amplify all these energies in helping the earth ascend. So imagine that push-pull dynamic of creation, okay, except that the push-pull dynamic is actually going in this motion. That push-pull dynamic, in, out, it starts creation. That's why it's the same motions as having intercourse. Okay? And so all that has got to be balanced out, especially when we're birthing this new earth. Okay? And when we say that, it just doesn't happen in one snap. It actually takes a lot of human time. Okay? And things that were written in 2012, foreseeing this big shift that is currently occurring now, last year, past several years, it's still happening. Even if before, you would think that 2012, because of the Mayan calendar and everything, that was the beginning. But the beginning, it's really not set in human time. Okay, so I just wanted to explain that a bit. Anyway, well, let's get on with the reading. Of course, I've already prayed over the cards and shuffled them, and at the bottom of the deck, and this would usually be the energies of the Divine Feminine, we have here the Two of Cups. Okay, Two of Cups signifies love, wanting to be in something romantic, chemistry, attraction. And here's the Sun, an overwhelming amount of it. Okay, and the Lover's card. So you can see all this. This would imply the Divine Feminine state. Okay, but the thing is, here we have the Eight of Swords, signifying that her desire for all these possibly is remaining stagnant for the moment. Okay? And it's remaining stagnant because there is all this movement on the Divine Masculine side in the fifth dimension and transforming that, integrating that into the third dimension. So she has to keep still for the moment, especially when it comes to these relationships, although they forebode well. You can see here with the Eight of Swords that it's not moving forward. Okay, and that's why the Divine Feminines have a sense of being the wounded warriors here. Okay, here we have the Five of Swords. He is victorious, as the Divine Feminine collective has been, in really trying to get a head start on their ascension journey, keeping on it, keeping balance, keeping the vibrations high. Now, but still, being the wounded warrior, being so brave in facing all your demons, your challenges, everything that's pinged you, and trying to transmute that. But still, this is a picture of not only exhaustion, but really victory at a price. Okay? And here, what is holding her together is this faith. Okay? And you can see here this card, the faith card, which would be the Hierophant card, as represented in this deck, which I was asked to use in this reading. It presents different men of faith. You have the Pope, you have, I'm sorry, an imam, I think. Okay, I'm really not familiar what you call the other heads of the other religions, but they're the men in those religions. And this faith, you can see they're all connected by the light. Not only by the light, but you can see this sword here, which would be the sword of truth. So wherever you're coming from, whatever religious belief, religious paradigm you're coming from, what you all have in common is this acknowledgement of the light. You may call this light by other names. Others call him the source, God, Jesus, Allah. It's all the same. Okay, when you acknowledge this, let's call it the source, or even the universe, okay, the source of all this light. And it is that faith that she's hanging on to as she moves forward. And you see here, very courageous, facing all the challenges. Even if it's heated, there is anger, not necessarily on her part, but it is in a conqueror mode, trying to get over this. Why? Because she still thinks this is worth having. You can see the Ten of Cups here. People reconciling their differences. Here you can see a cat and a dog, usually traditionally foes of each other, but they're in the most vulnerable position that one can be in our physical state, which is when one is sleeping. When one is sleeping, all sorts of treacherous things can be done to you, to injure, hurt, harm your physicality. But when you trust somebody, you are comfortable sleeping with that person, knowing that that person will do you no harm. And so the Divine Feminine, despite all the challenges, despite the lack of movement, still acknowledging that the light, what the light holds, what the light promises, is worth fighting for and pummeling through. Okay, so now as for her message for the Divine Masculine, let's open the cards. Okay, we have the Page of Cups. We have the Ace of Wands. We have the Page of Wands. We have the Knight of Coins. We have the Queen of Coins. Okay, we have the Nine of Swords. And then we have the Magician card. Okay, so it looks like that the Divine Feminine is sort of, even despite the fact that she knows that she can handle things on her own, and she's doing so quite valiantly, because that would be the Queen of Coins here. And the Queen of Coins, very practical, very nurturing, doing what needs to be done, okay, for everybody's comfort, for especially those that are under her wing, or those that she would be uh, the the guardian of. Okay, so there, look, she's saying basically this is two things, two-part message here from the Divine Feminine. Okay, first of all, here, this Page of Cups. This is a very gentle and even a very shy energy coming from the Divine Feminine. And this is saying, this is actually how she sees the Divine Masculine. Being like that shy schoolboy that is very reticent to approach, hesitant to approach rather, okay? And in order for this, his desire. So what she's saying, what she's telling him is that, look, I know that you want to start something up again, but, and look, any effort on your part, because here there's that hesitation, and it's not really a hesitation out of fear, but what I'm getting is a hesitation out of shyness. Okay, it's I don't know how it would be in the case of boys, but let's say that because I suppose a lot of the Divine Feminines are watching this, that over the summer, when school was out, you suddenly blossomed into a lady, and underwent puberty, and when you get back to school and everybody notices, you're kind of embarrassed. There's really nothing to be embarrassed about, but because it's so natural. But it's because you visibly changed. Okay, so that's the kind of shyness that I'm talking about here. So this shyness to start something, and the Divine Feminine is saying that, look, any small effort from you, I'm gonna meet it. So please, this is almost like an invitation to make that effort. This is encouragement on the part of the Divine Feminine that efforts of the Divine Masculine will be met head on. Okay? And even if that was slow, you can see this card is very dynamic. There is interaction here between these two foals. Okay, these two horses. So she's just encouraging him that, let me know what's in your heart, what you want to happen. And this enthusiasm, this Page of Wands, it's going to be met. It's going to be welcomed. Okay, that is her message on the one hand. And here she's saying that right now, because she's so preoccupied with sort of, because she's already accepted that she's the sovereign of her creations, okay, and that everything and everyone is connected, and there are things that have to be done in the third dimension in your life here to keep that going, because she also acknowledges that as above, so below. You cannot be on this journey and then turn a blind eye to everything that is 3D. But also with that comes the recognition of the roles that you are to play in other people's karma, in other people's the lessons that they have to learn. So all of that has to be balanced. So it's a very broad perspective, but still, nonetheless, it is also very pressure-filled and sometimes burdensome, in the sense that as much as you'd like to create as fast as you do in the fifth dimension, and everything happens at quantum speed, there's a realization that we are working with matter denser energies, wherein the particles of light, okay, they become matter, they become solid. And that's why it's so slow. That's why you have here the Knight of Coins also. Okay, so in her quest to be on top of it all, here she's just telling you about her really anxious and miserable state. And it's not wholly because of the divine masculine, because she recognizes this, okay? But it's just that everything else that's around her, the 3D, that's what she has to deal with. And that's why a lot of the divine feminines have either fallen ill, needed to take a sabbatical, needed to really refresh, rejuvenate, or even just deal with everyday stuff that's coming up in this transition period, which I seriously hope that that it's already a wrap at the very least. Okay, and I know a lot of the divine feminines are good sports. A lot of those who have matured simply don't throw in the towel and say that, oh, okay, I'm done with this, because it's so hard. And the thing is, if you go look at your Akashic records, if you've ever had what do you call those sessions of Dolores Cannon? I would say HTTP, but that's the internet, something like that. You would really realize when you do get in touch with your higher self that you agreed to really undergo these experiences. Why? Perhaps because in other lifetimes that you've lived, especially those lifetimes that you have lived in other dimensions and in other planets, life was so different. It was perhaps peaceful, but then again, hold on, I lost battery. Okay, as I was saying, life was very different from the adventure on Earth that you signed up for, and it's usually with purpose, even if your purpose is merely to observe. Because here, a lot of the divine feminines or light workers think that for their mission, they actually have to go out and do something. Sometimes that is a misnomer, because we all have signed up for different missions when we get here to this planet, and a lot of those, some of us have signed up just to be observers, especially those who have very little to no karma to negotiate, to live out, it's rare, but there are instances like that. So it really doesn't matter what you do, as long as you do it with the right frame of heart, so to speak, because just by being here, you have already fulfilled your mission. And it may not seem like it, but when you zoom out, then you are someone who is actually doing your job. Okay? And it's like others have been put here as beacons. And you know, what do lighthouses do? They just stand there. But they give light to those who are lost out at sea. So very remote, mostly isolated, but they serve a very important purpose for people who are lost along the way. Okay, and what she's saying here, that in her desire to really get on top of it all, it's become very difficult, and that's why there's this this Nine of Swords. This could be depression. This could be and I think I've had to really work my way out of that the past month or so. But it was with the help of a lot of light workers, friends who reached out. So there, getting into this frame of mind, and really worrying about whether she can pull it off. This is the Magician card. He's got everything already to create, but he needs the willpower. So this is on a soul level, wherein there is this thing that you want to create. You envision it, you visualize it, that your life is going to be like this. But here on the 3D level, there's so much things to put together, that there is this Nine of Swords. So this is almost a venting, wanting comfort from her divine masculine, because of what she's going through. And if we put all the messages together of the message of the divine masculine, basically, if this is how it's going for the divine feminine, all she has to do is to hang on. It's not moving right now, like the Eight of Swords here, okay? This is not moving, but that's because if you look at the message of the divine masculine, he's still keeping it under the radar, okay, for reasons I explain in that that reading. So the wounded warrior has to, the divine feminine as a wounded warrior has to hang in there and lick your wounds for the moment, okay? Because look, after this fight, this battle, remember we are working under a different density. This is forthcoming. Okay, so that's what I have for you. And if there are those of you who need assistance in your ascension journey, please do visit my website and let me know how I can help you. Okay, so take care, everyone. Bye.